It's Monday. This is Mammography Mondays, where knowledge saves lives. Hey, y'all, and welcome back to Mammography Mondays. You heard it, you thought it, you believed it. Today, we're talking about the myths of mammography. Don't mammograms catch breast cancer early? Unfortunately, no. So, mammograms are not 100%. And that is due to the density of breast, that's due to the positioning, that's due to all factors that play into reading a mammogram. So when patients think that just because they got their mammogram, they are free to go, they clear of breast cancer and all of this stuff. Yes, it is a sigh of relief when it says, "Oh, report, I am negative, I'm benign, I don't have breast cancer." Breast cancer can show up 6 months later. Breast cancer can show up 2 months later. Breast cancer can show up whenever it wants to because cancer sucks. Um, but for the patient, it is very, very, very important that you are getting your mammogram. In addition to getting your mammogram, you are still doing your self breast exams every single day or as often as you can. It is also important that you are following up or see your provider, your doctor, every single year so they can also do a breast exam on you. This goes into play with everything. So you need your mammogram and you need to do your self breast examinations at home. And you need to see your provider or your doctor on a yearly basis so they can also do your breast exam. Mammograms are scheduled once a year because of insurance. I'm pretty sure if insurance would pay every 6 months or every 3 months, people will be in there getting their mammogram every 3, every 6, or every year, however insurance pays for it, right? So the reason why it's every year is because insurance only pays for it once a year. Now, if you want to pay out of pocket, be my guest. And do what's more comfortable for you. But unfortunately, mammograms does not guarantee that we find breast cancer early, and it does not guarantee that we even find your breast cancer. Um, that's why when you see on some reports, if you are categorized as a breast density C or a breast density D, you will see on your report to speak with your provider about additional screening options. That is saying you have dense breasts. We may not have seen everything in your breast. So please speak with your provider about having a breast screening ultrasound done or having a breast MRI done. Unfortunately, some insurances do not cover this, so a lot of patients do not get this done. So insurance do not pay for breast screening ultrasounds and they do not pay for breast screening MRIs. However, it is very important as the patient, if they have dense breast C or D, that they are following up and discussing these options with their provider. Um, just a fact that I think patients and people in general should know is about 20%, approximately 20% of mammograms are false negatives, meaning that your mammogram, your breast tissue looks normal, but there is cancer present. So just keep that in mind. Yes, we still want you to get your mammogram because it is the best screening tool for early detection of breast cancer on the market right now. Hopefully they come up with 4D or some other thing in the future, but right now that's just not an option. Number two is please making sure that you are following up with your provider and making sure that you are doing your breast self examinations because it is just important that you as a patient know your body. And so you will know subtle changes or you will know changes that's happening to your breast before we will because we're not your body. We don't know it. And we don't know it as best as you would. So yes, we look for skin dimpling, we look for inverted nipples, we look for all of this stuff that could possibly be a sign of breast cancer. But if these changes happen after your mammogram and then you come in a year later and we're like, has your nipple always been inverted? Or has your breast tissue always, or has your breast skin always felt like this? Have you always had this, or have you always had that? This is why we're asking, or this is why we're asking for have any changes occurred since your last mammogram, because it can happen 2 months down the line, it can happen 6 months down the line. it can happen anytime after your mammogram. Um, so that's why it's important for you as the patient to know your body and to do your self examinations, as well as still seeing the provider and getting your annual mammogram done. I don't have anybody in my family with breast cancer. So that is a myth that I always hear as well, or we as a society hear that breast cancer does not run in my family, so I wouldn't get it, right? So, unfortunately, between 5 and 10% of breast cancer cases accounts for people being diagnosed with breast cancer. However, that other 90% of breast cancer cases is just because cancer sucks. Okay. So, just because you do not have anybody in your family with breast cancer does not mean that you cannot get breast cancer. So, be adamant about your breast health, be adamant about your health in general, and just know that it can happen to you without the family history. I'm a very healthy person. I eat right, I exercise, I do everything that I'm supposed to do to take care of my body. How can I get breast cancer? Because nothing is 100% guaranteed in life, unfortunately. So, as we get older, um sometimes our cells change, and unfortunately sometimes those cells, when they're changing, they end up being cancerous cells or end up being unhealthy cells as we get older. This is not for everybody. However, because you are healthy, because you are physically fit and everything like this, does not mean that this is an automatic 100% that you cannot get breast cancer. Just because you're healthy don't mean that you can't get sick, period. Right? So why should that occur, or why should that change anything or change your thought about breast cancer? If you're healthy, I commend you for being healthy, but still be adamant about the changes in your breast, the changes in your body in general. You being healthy can lower the risk of developing breast cancer, but unfortunately it cannot eliminate it. Only women can get breast cancer. And that's false. So, according to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer in their lifetime, but 1 in 833 men will develop breast cancer in their lifetime. Now, we do share some of the same factors that will increase our chances of developing breast cancer, such as family history and the production of estrogen. But for us women, because we produce a higher level of estrogen, that's what increases our chances of developing breast cancer in our lifetime. Also, men have breast tissue, so therefore men can develop breast cancer as well, just like women can develop breast cancer. But the difference between that is women, when we're going through puberty, we develop working lobules and ducts, which produces and carries our milk after childbirth. However, those ducts and lobules also are where most breast cancers are detected in women. And men just do not have as many lobules or ducts as we do. So that is another thing that impacts us as women of having a higher chance of developing breast cancer in our lifetime, but it still does not discount that men can develop breast cancer. So challenges that men face with breast cancer is they are not aware of the symptoms, or they ignore the symptoms. They are also not taught to screen themselves when it comes to breast cancer. And some men are diagnosed at an older age, therefore their cancer stage may be more advanced, and that leads to a poor outcome for the men. So, men, if you are out there, just know that you can develop breast cancer. And women, pay attention, because men can develop breast cancer as well. So pay attention to your husbands, your boyfriends, etc. Right? But for the men, I would like to talk to y'all and let y'all know that the symptoms that we look for as women are the same symptoms that y'all will look for. These symptoms are a lump or thickening in or near the breast, changes in the size or shape of the breast, nipple inversion, but spontaneous nipple inversion. So not nipple invert like your nipples has always been inverted your entire life. That's not a symptom. The symptom is spontaneous nipple inversion, also nipple discharge. But consult with your provider because depending on the color of discharge, that may or may not be a symptom. There are specific discharges that we're looking for when we say, oh, that's a sign of breast cancer. So speak with your provider about that. Um, Also, changes in the appearance of your areola or breast skin, like if your skin becomes scaly or you start to develop red patches, or if your skin start to resemble orange peel, like dimpling and rough, then these are symptoms that you could be looking for. Again, these are the same symptoms that us as women look for when looking for changes in our breasts. So these are the same symptoms for you men as well. So just be aware, just know the symptoms, and know that men can get breast cancer. Breast cancer is not only for women. Thank you for taking the time and joining us today for Mammography Mondays featuring the certified Tittologist. Don't forget to shop at TittologyEnterprises.com, your source for all mammogram awareness and breast health awareness needs. Thank you all and have a great week.